So who is QB1? We polled 25 NFL scouts and executives, and Lenora Sellers of South Carolina came back the winner. He had 8 votes. He edged out Garrett Nussmeier, who had 7. Carson Beck of Miami has really helped himself with his change of scenery. He has 3 votes, along with John Mateer of Oklahoma. Last year in week 6, Rece, we did a similar poll. Cam Ward had just 1 vote. So it's early. There's a lot left to play. And remember, Arch Manning, who a lot of people thought would be the number 1 pick in this draft if he came out, the NFL sentiment right now, Rece, is that Arch isn't going to be able to go to the draft until 2027.
And, you know, you look at Sellers here getting most of the votes, Pete, according to your poll, and he scuffled a little bit, too, and he's got a challenge against Missouri today. Nick, as you look at Arch Manning, what do you see? What are some of the problems?
You know, I think when things aren't going well for a player, you got to go back to technical aspects of how you're trying to execute. Like his mechanics is a little off. He's a little more sidearm than he was a year ago. You know, his footwork is not always exactly right in terms of his accuracy. I think it affects your confidence a little bit. I think he's relying a little bit too much on running now rather than reading things out. And what I would say to any player on our team, all right, that was struggling, you don't practice to get it right. You practice until you can't get it wrong. And that's what you got to do so you create the right habits so that you can play with great mechanics and good fundamentals.
And on that note, I feel like I was part of the problem. You know, I was crowning Arch before he even took a snap this year as the starter and before even seeing what this team was and how it was going to go for Arch Manning. So I think that is 100% on an expectation that was set on him that was absolutely absurd. And obviously right now all eyes are on him, and hopefully he'll be able to get out of it. I think he'll develop into that. But if you think about this season coming in, a lot of the quarterbacks that we had expected to be great, I think have maybe been a little bit under what we have expected. Now, there's still a lot of season left. You know, DJ Lagway, they're calling him DJ Gagway here. I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. But the way they've lost and things that have happened in those games, we thought he was going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Still has a chance to make that happen. I think there's just a couple mistakes. Then you talk about Cade Klubnik. Drew Aller hasn't really played anybody. And then you think about that Vandy game. I mean, Diego Pavia is maybe the guy that we thought was going to be good, and it is good. The quarterback scene right now is very interesting, and obviously here, Carson Beck has been a perfect fit. There's been a couple of those too, Kirk.
It depends on if you're talking about QB1 to go to the NFL or QB1 who's playing and playing the best. John Mateer, Ben Arbuckle, to me, have been the story of college football the first 3 weeks. Mateer is unbelievable in what he's doing. But to go back to what you're saying about Arch, I think it's a great example. This is a guy that started last year against Louisiana Monroe, Mississippi State, looked fine, everything looks great. This kid's been throwing the football his whole life. And all of a sudden, he can't complete a pass in cases where the guys are wide open. It's mechanics, but I think it's emotional, it's mental. It's what you're talking about. Unrealistic expectations. He's better than Peyton. He's better than Eli. He's the first pick next year in the draft. And now that guy's got to go out and try to live up to that. I think it just shows you the power, Des, of the mind and how they impact his mechanics, because this guy knows how to throw the ball, but he's being impacted, I think, because all this weight, I think, is taking a toll.
Yeah, with all the resources available to these players nowadays, I mean, they have quarterback coaches, they have mental coaches. He's at Texas. They have all the resources available that any college football player can ask for. So you wonder, why is he still struggling? If it's a mental thing, you would think that their coaching staff would have recognized this and they would have addressed it. If it's the footwork, which all of us see on film, you would think that the coaching staff would have recognized this and addressed this. I just think he's just a good quarterback. If his name was Charlie Brown, we'll make fun of him, but we wouldn't have these lofty expectations of him playing the quarterback position. I think he is who he is. What we see is who he is, and we just have to let him be, you know. That's going to be a long season, though, for the Longhorns, because I think they had greater expectations. I'm not sure why, because he's been in the system long enough that they know what they got in him. But it's going to be a long season. They got this game this week, then they have a bye, and then they jump into the SEC schedule. It may get ugly.
Florida, Oklahoma, pretty soon. Then.
You know, you have to have tremendous maturity, to me, to be able to handle high expectation. And if you don't, it creates a tremendous amount of anxiety. You become so outcome-oriented. You have all this anxiety to deal with. Some people handle it well, some people don't. And I think in some cases this year with some of these quarterbacks that are struggling, the expectations gotten to them a little bit. They go out there thinking they got to do something to prove. They press, and they don't play as well as they're capable of.
With that all being said, I think we all trust in Sark. And if anybody can get him right mentally and the mechanics, I think it's Sark. I know you're saying if he continues to play the way he is, it could be a long year.
Correct.
I think it could be at any moment they could flip a switch and get it going if they can get the confidence maybe established today before they go to Gainesville in a couple of weeks.
Well, today's a good day to do it because Sam Houston State,
obviously,
not only are they outclassed from a term of athleticism, but they've also really struggled on pass defense. And anything can build that confidence. I think you're right. I think Arch is going to get it going at some point whenever that switch flips. Meantime, the Wolverines taking on Nebraska, and Biff Poggi will lead them for 32 years. Francis Xavier Posey was a head coach in high school and a tremendously successful one. You know the story of how well he did in business. 2 years of experience as a Charlotte head coach in his third separate stint on the Michigan staff, and now he is the interim head coach. AT&T keeping us connected as we talk with the coach of the Wolverines, Biff Poggi. Biff, you coming here. Biff, thank you for joining us. You look at this, and Bryce Underwood coming in to his second road start. You've raved about his talent. What do you expect to see different from him second time in front of a hostile crowd as opposed to what we saw the first time against Oklahoma?
Well, I think that experience at Oklahoma was actually very good for him. He really blossomed last week. And he's a very mature kid, level-headed kid, and I think that will help him handle the expectations we're going to have today.
Frankie, Xavier, Poggi, Paisan, I appreciate you taking the time this morning to chit-chat with us, and learning of your story is absolutely outrageous. The fact that there's just billionaires everywhere around that Michigan campus, and now as the interim head coach, is a beautiful thing. I think that's good for Michigan. With that being said, I heard you and I are both owed something from Coach Saban. Can you tell me about your history with Coach Saban? And this is a good time to kind of publicly pressure Coach Saban to kind of make this happen for you, Coach.
Well, look, I mean, I know everyone genuflects to the greatest college football coach ever, but not me. And I will tell you that we've been friends a long time. And he called me 5 or 6 years ago. 5 or 6 years ago. And he goes, hey, guess what? I've been chosen for a Ferrari dealership. I said, oh, man, congratulations. Let me be the first guy to buy a car from you, and I'll buy the coolest car they make, the 812 Superfast. Oh, yeah, great, perfect. I'll have it all set up. I will have a beard down to my knees before I see that 812 Superfast. Okay? He's driving it.
Well, here was the problem. When we got right down to the transaction, you had alligator arms. You could not reach in your pocket.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
Get in the pocket.
Why don't you ask the guy? You should ask the Rolls dealer I just brought my car from if I have alligator arms.
All right, let's get back to football. Can we get back to football, Coach? He wants the Rolls instead of you. You lost a friend and a customer.
I got to ask you, when you were at St. Francis, I never saw you coach a down. You were the owner. You were Jerry Jones. You paid the players and all that. You did the payroll. Are you using the same philosophy at Michigan now?
Yeah, and I learned all that from you. So,
That's amazing.
Fantastic.
Okay, Coach, can we talk ball for a second here, Biff? It felt like Underwood was a little bit more wide open with the arm whenever you were in charge. Do you feel like the team's a little bit looser? How do you feel like the team is reacting to your message and overall aura as an interim head coach?
Well, first of all, the team misses Sharon Moore tremendously. And replacing a head coach, you can't do that. So, but I will say this, the kids, they have had an unbelievable week of practice. It has been really sharp, and we are going to be as wide open as you can be. We're not holding anything back. We feel like we have great players, talented players, and more importantly, these kids love to play football. They love to play football, and honestly, they don't care if they're playing in Nebraska or they're playing in a ball field out back. They just want to play. And so I think it's going to be a great game, and I expect to see us perform well.
Hey, Biff, it's Kirk. Appreciate you coming on. I'm glad you were able to tell Coach what you wanted to say to him. I saw you in Norman. You wanted me to pass that along. You were able to do it right here. We saw your quarterback play differently a week ago. He comes across to me as a pocket guy that is obviously more than capable of using his legs to give you a +1 advantage. How do you foresee the offense trying to attack on the road against this Nebraska defense?
Well, Nebraska has a very good defense and has a very good football team. But we have to be who we are. And who we are, this kid can throw it. He's very smart. He is mature. He can run it. And we have a very good running game offensively. And, the keys for us, Kirk, are going to be, stopping the run, trying to negate their quarterback who's outstanding. And then letting our players play. I mean, we can't keep Bryce in a box. We've got to let him go.
Hey, Biff, it's Desmond Howard. First of all, I want to apologize profusely for the behavior of my co-host. I'm sorry that happened to you. But you mentioned Coach Moore and how much the players miss him. When Coach Moore is there, what exactly is your role with the team?
I would say that my role is kind of supporting Sharon, being a sounding board for him, being a support for him, and then, kind of loving the players up and the coaches in the building. And as you know, it's such a hectic job these days. I'm more like, I would say, a utility infielder, or as I said last week, Sharon's Tiger Woods, and I'm the guy with the fuzzy mustache carrying his bag. So just trying to help where I can.
That also helped Jim Harbaugh. It really turned the Michigan program around. Biff, you're much too modest there. We wish you well in the game against Nebraska today, and enjoy that Rolls, man.
Wow.
The Rolls Royce is a fine automobile.
Wow.
Enjoy that, Biff. Thanks a lot. Good luck, Biff.
Tell Nick I'll send him one. I'll send one. Thank you.
Oh, me too. Whoa. And Kurt, and Des.
Yeah, we all grab bag. These guys don't know what the questions are going to be. We're going to need the answers immediately. You yell, stop. Pick a question. Desmond, home field advantage. You go first.
Home field advantage. Stop! Hey, guys, it's a group effort, don't forget.
I'm with you.
Who is the best team in the country? The best team in the country. I think the best team in the country, look at their offense, look at their defense, look at their special teams. The most impressive team has been the one at Coral Gables. Oh! The Miami Hurricanes.
Wow.
Yeah. Best team in the country so far.
Big wins.
Huge wins.
Huge wins.
That game against Notre Dame was impressive.
Good resume.
Yes,
Oklahoma. We saw them. We've been talking about them as a team.
Yeah.
They look great.
The way that they handled Miami.
I like LSU.
I gotta go with the
LSU
Canes.
looks
Don't quit on LSU. Pat, you're up next.
LSU.
That's why I was a little banged up, huh?
Stop. Who's going to win the Big 12?
Ooh.
Now, everything's still in front of the West Virginia Mountaineers. Okay. So we got a huge win in the backyard brawl.
How many guys picked that last week, by the way?
There was one guy. There was a lot of those
That guy
lovely
right there.
islands coming over from last week. That means this week it could potentially turn completely, which is not a fun ride throughout the college football season. But West Virginia could obviously win anything because I would like them to do that.
Yeah.
But you look at some of the teams that are out there. Utah has a real shot this year, especially with Whittingham and his defense and what they're able to accomplish. Unbelievable. Texas Tech, with all the money they play today, I mean, there's a chance that both of them could get there.
Yeah.
You really start going through the top 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Arizona State still counted. On the Big 12, any of them can make a run.
Okay.
Iowa State.
TCU.
Don't sleep on the Horned Frogs.
Who do you like, Coach? Who do you like, Coach?
First question, what's the dew point?
Stop.
Kirk,
This is you.
Easy now. Which quarterback do you trust the most?
Man, oh man, that's a great question.
Song of Politelli's out there in California.
I'm going to go with, I said it earlier, they love Carson Beck. I love Carson Beck.
I do too.
But the guy I trust the most within a system is John Mateer in Oklahoma with Ben Arbuckle.
That guy's been impressive.
He has been
I
lights
tell you
out.
what's going to be some tough sledding. Carrying that ball that many times in the SEC is a tough way to make a living.
Before we hit the next one, you live here. How many showers do you take a day?
Good question.
First of all, I don't go outside in suits.
Good. Right. Good call. Good call.
But
it is hotter than, I mean, this
it's Africa hot here, brother.
Insanity.
Yeah. This
is great. It's
like
better than being
ridiculous.
cold. All right, this is the bonus one for all of us, so stop.
Man.
What score would you give Jess's jump off the high dive? How would you score that?
I'm giving it a 10.
I'm going 10.
Let me see.
Perfect.
Hesitation.
No doubt. No hesitation.
Look at the toes.
No look down.
Watch the entry. Watch the entry.
Oh, that's amazing.
Little splash.
Little splash. I'd say 9.5.
If only we could compare her to someone else.
Okay, yeah.
That's true.
That's
very
high,
true.
dude.
Yeah. We need some.
And watch, she finishes the dive afterwards.
Look at you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you go.
And the smile.
Go,
goes
Jess.
with it. Way to go, Jess.
Unbelievable.
That's a challenge.
Get in there.
Nick, you're up. Your turn. Let's
in there.
spin the board.
Stop.
Stop, damn it. He said stop.
Does 0-2 Notre Dame make the playoff?
That's a great question.
What do you guys think?
Well, you know, Notre Dame's probably played the toughest two teams of anybody in the country so far. They lost by 1 point and 4 points. Saying all that to say this, they only have one ranked opponent left on their schedule.
Yep.
They need some kind of way to pick up some quality wins. If they went out and go 10-2, they don't have a conference championship game to get a quality win from somebody. It's going to be interesting to see what the committee does. They may need help from other schools to lose a few games for them to get in there.
So Coach danced around that. I'm going to say they're at Arkansas, USC at home. They finished 10-2, and yes, Notre Dame will be in the playoff at 10-2.
And no matter what the wins look like?
Doesn't matter. 10-2. I just think Notre Dame's in. Kirk, it's you.
Herbie. Back up, Herbie.
Yep.
I think it's for you, brother.
Stop.
Not back up. You're back up.
Okay. What is this? What is this?
Wow.
That's a good question.
Hey, there's a hint. I told you earlier in the show. I told you what this was.
That's the troll. That's the troll cup. That's a troll championship trophy.
That's right.
Trophy.
That's right.
Trophy.
That's it.
Yeah.
Concordia and St.
Good job.
Yes.
Good job.
That's a team effort.
And we can get to wrapping this up. I'm starting to perspire.
It is.
Who will be in the ACC championship game? Oh, are you kidding me? The ACC championship game will feature Miami against. Who you guys think? Who should be the other team?
Georgia Tech.
Maybe Florida State.
Miami,
Here we go. Florida
That's
State.
what I think it is.
Miami, Florida State. ACC championship game.
Wow.
I'm with you. I think Georgia Tech might. They keep beating people they're not supposed to beat.
A Florida State championship game.
That'd be awesome.
That would be huge.
I really like
We'll
Haynes
see that
King.
in 2 weeks, by the way.
exactly.
Miami and Florida State.
Hey, I love that. Also, I love Haynes King. How about what he did for our
he's
show
beat-
last week?
What a
He was
stud.
incredible.
Another bonus one for all of us.
Incredible.
Stop. Better tradition. Florida's won't back down at the end of the third quarter, or Miami running through the smoke.
Let me just say,
Come on, that right there. Wait, tonight.
Wait a second.
Tonight.
but bro,
That's
tonight it'll be special.
That's special.
Yeah,
It is.
but it was really special with the Orange Bowl.
Ooh,
It
yes,
was different when Ray Lewis and
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
boys.
Absolutely.
It was so different. I
Absolutely.
love this too. That's a fun thing, right?
I can't even keep my eyes open.
Tom
I got-
Petty,
Oh, how dare you?
Tom Petty. Come on.
Gainesville native.
One more for
Petty.
you.
Come on,
One more
Pat.
for you, Pat.
Stop.
Is the
Come on, man. We've been there before.
I mean, you start looking around here at Coral Gables and you start feeling the energy, and it's starting to feel a certain way in Coral Gables again. And you think about the history of football, it runs through these grounds here. There's a pool, there's a vibe, and there's a quarterback, Carson Beck, who is like a 14-year vet out there. They got athletes all across the board, and Mario Cristobal will beat the other team's coach's ass.
Are they
No
back?
questions
Are they
asked.
back?
So
Are they
I
back?
think,
Are they
yes,
back?
the U has gone from shite to all the way back. Baby. I think. And that's why we're here, by the way, is to find out. This early in the season, we're going to find out if the U is actually back, or we're going to do a whole season of wondering. Feels like we find out today.
And if we find out a little something today, maybe we see these guys on the road in a few weeks.
That's what I'm saying.
Sometimes it moves a mountain to be undefeated, and other times you wind up untested. Our great researcher, Rece Davis, came up with this Venn diagram. Now, the ones that overlap in the middle, we've decided they're kind of tested, sort of tested a little bit. But there are a lot of them, including Oregon over there, and certainly including their opponent next week, Penn State. who are undefeated and untested. But among these unbeaten teams, whether tested or untested, Desmond, who is it that intrigues you out of this group?
I will have to go with the Oregon Ducks. I think their quarterback, Dante Moore, is playing at a very high level right now, completing 78% of his passes, 7 touchdown passes, and only 1 interception. He's spreading the ball around. He's playing very efficiently, and I think their defense is one of the best defenses, too, in the conference. Now, obviously, they're going to have to play Penn State next week. Penn State is going to be coming off of a bye. That's going to be a big matchup. But shout out to Oregon. Shout out to Phil Knight. They're going to honor him today, too.
Yeah, well, Oregon's done a great job of retooling.
Yeah.
They lost a lot of players from last year, but, the team that I'm really impressed with is Texas A&M. Marcel Reed has done a fantastic job.
Yep.
I mean, to go to Notre Dame, having played them for years and years and years, being at Michigan State, big rivalry game, that's a hard place to win. And to go in there and have the mental toughness to be able to sustain, come back in the game and win the game, it speaks a lot about the character, competitive character of this team. And if Marcel Reed stays healthy, they're going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Me being the only one to pick Texas A&M last week against Notre Dame was literally a surprise to me. I thought we all were going to really like Mike Elko with another year. Feels like that's paying off, and Notre Dame faced a very good team. Another good team that you have to stay up for, Cal. Okay, they have, I know Mateer is obviously in the conversation. Songa Politelli might be the best quarterback in the country. He is 18 years old. He's out of Hawaii. He's 6'3", 205. He can move. He has a 3.75 GPA. He went to Oregon, obviously. Well, he committed to Cal. They went to Oregon. They went back to Cal. He's late-night, must-watch television. He is so good. With their schedule, there's a chance they win the All-Coast Conference as well.
Missouri's getting a lot of recognition, a lot of talk about the quarterback. But I think they got pieces around the quarterback that I think make them a real team. They'll get a test today. USC, kind of been off the radar. That'll change. They play Michigan State. Now they're getting into conference play. They're at Illinois, so we'll find out if USC is for real. Team that I think is interesting is Georgia Tech. They've already beaten Clemson. They went to Colorado and won. I think they're going to be favored in every game they have left, with the exception of the last game at the end of the year when they have Georgia. But Georgia Tech is a team that's no longer just a cute little story. That team is for real, and they got a quarterback, obviously, that's going to keep them in every game.
Well, USC, I want to make a comment. These guys have tremendous athletic ability, especially on offensive receiver and running back. Can they play defense well enough to be able to sustain? That's going to be the question. Georgia Tech is the team that kind of intrigues me because you've heard me talk about capability gap before, like how well are you playing relative to how well you can play? And these guys play up to the standard every week and beat teams all the time that people think they can't beat. So, Brent Key has done a fantastic job, and, Hayes King obviously is a big part of that.
Got to stay.
How about the nose, though? You got to go look at Florida State, what they've been able to do so far, especially after what happened a year ago, and now they have Gus Malzahn calling the plays.
Yep.
I think he's the X factor. He's the difference maker. You listen to players talk about him, they say he seems like he's just much more relaxed. He's much more comfortable, like a burden has been lifted off of his shoulders, and he's been in his bag lately. I think Florida State's going to be a very, very dangerous team moving forward.
I had no idea this chant existed here, but certainly they are creative down here and have great rhythm, able to fit a lot of words into just one melody. That being said, I agree that Florida State could be all the way back.
Yeah, man.
I mean, they had that one year, obviously, where they're dead, and they missed the playoffs because they have so many injuries at the most important position. But why not Norvell getting it figured out today? 44.5-point favorites, Steve.
Now they will take on Syracuse. So what about Clemson? 17 returning starters, veteran quarterback, potential first-round picks on the defensive line and at linebacker. And this 1-2 start is wildly disappointing. But Dabo is not ready to take this season and pop that baby back on the Roy bus with all the rest of y'all also Rands.
What's so bad about our program? What's so bad about it? What's so bad about the worst season that we've had 14 years? How many programs in college football would sign up for one, and only once, 14 years of 9 wins? Why are we held to a different standard from all these other teams out there who ain't ever won nothing? We're not perfect, and we may suck this year. We may lay a freaking egg and go 6-6, but I don't think so. If they want me gone, if they tired of winning, they can send me on their way because that's all we've done is win. So if they tired of winning, we've won this league 8 out of the last 10 years. Is that not good? I mean, if Clemson's tired of winning, they can send me on my way, but I'm going to go somewhere else and coach. I ain't going to the beach. Hell, I'm 55. I got a long way to go.
All right, so now look, Dabo knows the answer to these rhetorical questions. Of course it's good. And also the reason you're not held to that standard is because you have won something. You're not like the rest of those teams, and that's because of you, and that's a good thing. Look, we all love to be shown a little appreciation every now and then. That's all Dabo's asking for. But I might remind him in the immortal words of Don Draper, that's what the money's for. They do appreciate him. The real fans do for sure. But I do question whether Dabo has really done everything in his power to get Clemson back on the right track. I think a few years ago, when they were off, things weren't right. And it was the Clemson fans who helped put them together. And one man, Tyler from Spartanburg, turned everything around for them. And the Clemson fans on the message board, they know they're sending out the bat signal. Clemson was 4-4 when Tyler made his infamous call. And after that, you know what happened? Clemson didn't lose another game. You know what happened? It carried over the next year. They won 10 out of 11.
Wow.
Okay. What you need is Tyler. Where's Tyler when you need him?
Exactly. Yes.
Exactly.
He's got to resurface.
Here's Clemson since 2011. This is an elite program, no doubt about it. Dabo knows it. He's just kind of maybe sending a message. He knows the answer of why they're held to a different standard because he created the larger standard. That doesn't mean it's easy, but it does mean it's a reflection of his success.
Yeah, he created it. I mean, he created the success, very similar to the way we created a standard and an expectation in Alabama. But then you got to keep climbing that mountain because people expect you to live up to it. And you're only as good as your last play. You're only as good as your last game. When you're in competition and you got to look at the next challenge as an opportunity to continue to grow and develop. And, you know, Dabo needs to look at what he needs to do in his program to make his program continually be successful. Do you have to change the portal? Do you have to change name, image, and likeness? The game has changed. You need to change with it. Otherwise, you're not going to put yourself in the same position other people are and having the chance to be successful.
Yeah, Dabo seems resistant to that change, and that's what people are starting to try to come at him because he wants to do things his way. I have a lot of confidence, respect for Dabo and the way he goes about his business, but obviously he set a particular standard there in Clemson. That's what his fans are used to, and they haven't reached that point so far this season. The most disappointing thing is that most coaches always tell their players, don't pay attention to the media. Don't pay attention to social media. When he answered that question, he answered to get something off his chest. The question was, and I don't know if you guys are aware of it, the question was, what's the one offensive play you would like to have back in the Georgia Tech game? And then he gave that 13-minute rant about if I'm not good enough, they want to send me away. So he obviously has something he wanted to get off his chest because he's paying too much attention to the media.
Or is he sending a message to his team through the media?
Always.
Yeah. He may be sending
that's a good spin.
And to the fans.
I think, first of all, this comes up a lot if Clemson doesn't win. They're not caught up to the modern day of college football. They got to start getting NIL. They got to get portal. But step back for a second. That roster in August we all looked at, there were a lot of people that thought, okay, Clemson's going to win the national championship, Penn State. Clemson was the team.
Yep.
So it's not like there's a shortage of talent on that roster. To me, Antonio Williams, their receiver going down week 1, has really affected this offense in a very negative way. Their quarterback, Cade Klubnik, third-year starter. At times doesn't look like a third-year starting quarterback. So they can right the ship and they can win a lot of games. But these first 3 weeks, it's been a surprise because of the way the offense has looked with Cade Klubnik not performing. And I think Antonio Williams not being there has a lot to do with it.
I appreciate Coach Dabo Swinney flexing a little bit, saying, I've won 8 out of the last 10 league championships. They're a reigning champ right now. Had a huge win, obviously, get into the playoff, and this conversation is happening. But I think if you look around, especially with where we are this morning and the research that we've done leading up to this particular game day, it's like this is a little bit different ACC right now than it has been for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Miami, I think, is back. I think Georgia Tech is very, very good. I think there's teams in the ACC now that are going to up their standard. Yes, Florida State is back. So it's like 8 out of 10 for sure. What's the future look like for that boy? We shall see.
But you know what? I may end up being like the guy that almost tipped over the boat. I was a guy who had Clemson preseason number 1. I picked him to win the national championship. They're going to be in the ACC championship game.
Oh, there you go.
I hope so.
Over Miami?
Not over Miami, probably with Miami.
Over Florida State.
Well,
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I would like that. That would be great.
A lot of ground to make up.
Dabo talked about going to the beach. Nobody's sending Dabo to the beach.
You want this, you got that. No way, watch him walk right past you. Run fast while you have the chance. Don't speak, let him look right at you.